Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Former Vice Premier Zheng Wen-Tan has been detained in his third bail hearing connected to a corruption allegation from when he was Taoyuan mayor. Joyce Zheng was at the Taoyuan District Court for the announcement.
After over 4 hours of deliberation, the Taoyuan District Court has detained former Vice Premier Zheng Wen-Tan. It's the result of the DPP politician's third bail hearing after a back-and-forth battle between prosecutors and the District Court. Zheng, who was once seen as a potential successor to former President Tsai Ing-wen, has been accused of corruption from when he was serving as Taoyuan mayor. Last time he was released, the District Court said that they found no evidence to justify detaining him, but prosecutors successfully got the High Court to twice revoke this decision, saying that the possibility of collusion between Zheng and other suspects has not been resolved. Today, here, a win for prosecutors as they prove their case against one of the biggest names in the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. Joseph Wu, Justin Wu, and Joyce Zheng in Taoyuan for TaiwanPlus.
4 Chinese Coast Guard cutters entered restricted waters near Taiwan's Kinmen Islands early on Thursday morning. Taiwan's Coast Guard responded by dispatching 4 patrol boats of its own. The Chinese vessels left the area after a 5-hour standoff. The incident is the first time this month China Coast Guard ships have entered waters controlled by Taiwan. Chinese Coast Guard activity around Kinmen has increased since the deaths of 2 Chinese fishers being pursued by Taiwan's Coast Guard in February. Taiwan's military is holding 4 days of joint exercises in the country's south, with many of the drills taking place at night. Troops carried out shooting drills with machine guns, artillery, and armor-piercing missiles. The drills come just ahead of this year's Hanguang exercise, Taiwan's largest annual live-fire war games. A new legal battle is brewing at Taiwan's Constitutional Court. Judges are weighing whether to put an emergency brake on new powers lawmakers have given themselves. John Van Triest has this report.
The 15 justices of the Constitutional Court have a bitter dispute to resolve. The opposition-controlled legislature has voted to give itself several new powers. These include the power to invite the president, to give them an annual address followed by questions. And there's also the power to make officials testify, with fines or jail time if they refuse or don't give out information. Opponents, who say these powers erode democracy, have rallied in Taipei. And now they're taking legal action, too. The executive branch, controlled by the ruling DPP, is among those asking the court to put an emergency brake on these new powers. But lawmakers haven't actually tried to use many of them yet. So the first question is whether they should hear arguments based on hypotheticals, what lawmakers might do.
机关宪法诉讼必须就行使职权跟所适用的法规范内容抵触宪法才能申请。那我们主张总统申请不合法。
军庭要思考的事情其实很简单，就是到底违宪可不可以一下下一点点就好？我想答案是清楚的，就是不可以。
And there's also the question of whether these new powers warrant urgent action.
总统不来立法院，什么事也不能干。
因为一旦总统被邀请到了国情报告，到立法院复国情报告，会发生什么事情，没有人能够担保，而这正是急迫性。
Whatever the justices decide, debate over whether these new legislative powers are constitutional doesn't end there. The battle over whether to freeze the powers temporarily is just the first move in what promises to be a lengthy legal battle. Alex Chen and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
A new investigation into last year's egg shortage and import controversy is causing cracks in Taiwan's legislature. A task force proposed by the main opposition Kuomintang will look into possible collusion between politicians and egg importer Chaosi. Ruling party lawmakers staged a walkout to protest the establishment of the investigative task force. They say the probe goes beyond the legislature's investigative powers. KMT lawmakers said politicians have nothing to fear if they are innocent. Animal rights activists have staged a protest outside of Taiwan's legislature, raising concerns about the treatment of egg-laying hens. The activists say 80% of Taiwan's hens are raised in battery cages and are subject to cruel population control methods to keep egg production in balance. They are calling on lawmakers to introduce stricter regulations and improve living conditions for Taiwan's 40 million egg-laying hens. Alarming new statistics show over 60 children have died in murder-suicides in Taiwan in the past 6 years. Suicide prevention workers are now trying to raise awareness and help those at risk. Tiffany Wong reports.
Seeking answers for a situation she never saw coming. This woman lost her daughter and grandson in an apparent murder-suicide at the hands of her son-in-law.
女儿跟她老公平常会吵架嘛，因为
不会，就是都不会，你知道我们都没预警的，经济压力也不会，两个家庭，爸爸妈妈两个家庭都不错啊。
The husband is believed to have killed his wife in their apartment and suffocated their 6-month-old child in the car before taking his own life. It's part of an alarming trend, with the health ministry reporting that between 2017 and 2023, 62 children died in murder-suicides. The latest, one of 3 cases just this month. Experts point to financial troubles, health issues, and souring relationships as the main factors that lead to these killings.
可能会觉得他周遭的世界啊环境对他都非常的不利，所以他不想要把这个小孩子呢也陷入这样的这个不利的状况想要拯救自己、拯救小孩的这样的一个思考的基本的架构。
But suicide prevention workers say that a persistent stigma in Taiwan against seeking psychiatric help may make it difficult for some people to see an end to their troubles.
他自己应该知道自己不一样了，可是我觉得有些人还是排拒去寻求帮忙。
And with many warning signs hard to detect from the outside, child safety advocates say it should not just be on the individual or their families to act, and that the government needs to get involved in prevention as well.
我们认为在这些指标上面政府应该在所谓社会安全网的一个领域当中做一个广泛的宣导，我们必须要有一些资源去介入。
By making those resources more widely available and getting the conversation started on mental health, these advocates say they can get more help to people experiencing suicidal thoughts and prevent tragedies like this from happening in the future. Kama Shri and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Ultrasound technology has helped doctors treat a wildlife conservationist after he was bitten by a venomous snake. The conservationist was bitten on his index finger while handling a cobra. Doctors at Taichung Veterans General Hospital used ultrasound to pinpoint where to surgically remove damaged tissue and were able to avoid amputation. They say using the technology can reduce the number of procedures needed to treat snake bites by half. Legislators in Taiwan have blasted the country's basketball association over the unequal pay given to male and female players.
体育署我这边我真的要提醒你们，一直以来，其实在我们体育界就存在这种男女不平等的这样子待遇，其实一直都有。那从这一次这个事件，其实体育署你们也只是刚开始也只是喊话。那如果说你们没有实质的作为，你们是袖手旁观的话，那这样的情况会一直的发生。
Legislators have expressed concern over the large gender pay gap in the annual William Jones Cup, a basketball tournament held in Taiwan. Male players are paid over $150 per game, while female players are offered less than $100. The Basketball Association said they will offer women basketball players a bonus to match the male players, but legislators say it should guarantee equal pay instead. Government officials say they may reduce subsidies for the association if the pay gap continues. Baseball star Zhang Yuchen has signed the biggest contract in Taiwan's professional league history. His 3.5-year contract with the Fubon Guardians is worth $2.8 million. Zhang is hailed as the best hitter in Taiwan's baseball history. He played in the U.S. Major League for 5 years, setting several hitting records for Taiwanese players, including 20 home runs. Zhang is set to play his first game with the Guardians on Friday night against the Unileague Lions. One of Taiwan's top research institutes is celebrating its 51st anniversary. All this week on TaiwanPlus, we're taking an inside look at what it does and some of its cutting-edge innovations. What if humans could slow down the aging process? That may sound like something from a science fiction movie, but scientists at a top Taiwan research facility are working on a platform that could prolong human life through cell therapy. Leslie Liao explains.
Taiwan is searching for the fountain of youth. But the search isn't a daring expedition into the unknown. It involves pipettes, experimentation, and patience. The key here is cell therapy. Cell therapy involves extracting so-called supercells from a donor and implanting them in a patient where they start to grow and multiply. Supercells may sound like a one-size-fits-all solution, but it's not that simple. The science behind it is precise, and only certain supercells can treat certain medical conditions. Currently, there isn't enough data to tell us what kind of supercells are best suited for fixing different problems. That's where Taiwan's Industrial Technology Research Institute comes in. It's working on a database called Key Functional Cell Identity, or KFCI, to identify which supercells are most suitable for treatment.
We don't want to put in your body and you don't know what actually the treatment will make me feel better. Yeah, so that's the key point why we want to develop this platform.
So far, the database has successfully identified supercells suitable for treating 40 medical conditions. They've had the most success with treating patients with myocardial infarction or heart attack and wounds in patients with diabetes, which usually take more time to heal.
We did this one is for like you can treat or restore your organ. Yeah, so that's why right now we do this one is for the myocardial infection, and the other is like diabetes wounds.
KFCI works by identifying certain biomarkers in donor cells. This could be anything from genetic indicators to proteins. Cells with different biomarkers are tested against several medical conditions to see which combination of biomarkers shows the most promise for treatment.
And we're using not just the gene level. We're going to even the protein and can tell you how the behavior of your cell. And then you can have the way to identify who is a really super donor.
Think about it this way. The treatment to a certain medical condition is like a password. The biomarkers are the numbers and letters that make up the password. Once researchers figure out the right password for each medical condition, then they unlock an effective therapy. The potential for this technology is vast. It might even help slow down aging. As you grow older, the body wears down. But if KFCI can find the supercells that can help regenerate or even regrow organs, then it could prolong human life.
In the future, we hope it can just do the OA for the need to recover back.
And because of its life-extending potential, the team behind KFCI earned an Edison Award from the US, recognizing innovation in biomedicine.
Could be a life changer. You know, it could really, once that hits the market and you start to gather more data, you could literally change how long people live and their quality of life.
In the future, researchers plan to culture cells on computer chips for quicker analysis. Once the database is more complete, supercells can be cultured with robotics for production, bringing down costs. Taiwan is in a race to become a leader in cell therapy. But this technology is not so much about big aha moments, but rather it's about strapping down, doing the research, and finding treatments one biomarker at a time. Ryan Wu and Leslie Liao in Hsinchu for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website and follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out this huge Stegosaurus skeleton up for auction in New York. It's the biggest ever reconstructed. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.